Okay, welcome guys. Welcome back. We're going to go through this chart, stock market technical analysis. So if you're new to the channel, really all I do is cover stock charts, technical analysis, and point out trade ideas that I see in the charts. And that's what this channel is all about. So if you guys find value in the content, leave me a thumbs up. Leave a comment below if you guys have a chart or something you want me to look at. I'm kind of scanning around looking for some new ideas. The market right now is just going sideways in general. So there's a lot of trade setups out there, specifically in the financials and the industrials, and even in healthcare. I'm seeing some. Really across the board, I'm seeing quite a few setups, but nothing's actionable. And for the last almost 2 weeks now, we've been just kind of drifting sideways, kind of grinding higher. None of those trade setups that I've pointed out have triggered. So just kind of looking for other things to kind of keep an eye on and scout out while we wait for some of these trade setups to trigger. So starting out, we're going to start out with the broad indices. We'll get into some of these individual stock charts. Triple Qs, you can see here on the daily chart, we've just gone sideways for the last, basically 6 days, and nothing's changed. So what I'm watching, if I go to the hourly, I'm really watching the futures and this triple Qs for a breakdown of about this level right here, 332.31. Now we've dipped below it a little bit, but again, that was this breakup candle. We broke up on this impulsive candle, and then we've just been going sideways within this range. So I'm looking for some sort of a breakdown out of this. Now, why do I think there's going to be a breakdown? And I think it's likely, but until I see it, the market can go either way. So I'm just flat. I'm not trading triple Qs. I don't have a position. But, if we get the breakdown, then we might have potentially seen kind of the top of this. We've already broken down out of this on this daily chart from the March 2020 upward trend line. Here's the range, kind of the upward trend, and your sell signal or breakdown point was right there. That candle, as I zoom in on the daily, that impulsive breakdown. Now that sell signal also came when you had negative divergence. You'll see the PPO and the RSI have been diverging lower and lower, meaning the momentum has, even on rallies in momentum, the rallies don't go as high as the former rallies. So it shows that momentum is trending down. And then you wait for the break of the trend line support, and that's right there. So all we've really been doing is back testing. Now, a couple things. We could go higher, and I have it circled as a potential area that the Qs could rally to. So if the Qs wants to rally strong, we might rally up, do a full back test of this broken trend line, put in an all-time new high, and that would likely be a new divergent high and an area of major resistance where I think we'll likely get rejected from. So that's always possible, and that's why I'm really just flat, because I don't know which direction the Qs is going to go. If I go back to the hourly, we're trading sideways, but we could break up or we could break down. Until I see one way or the other, I'm not exactly sure. All right, so that's the Qs. SPY, same deal. We've just been kind of drifting sideways for the last 5, 6, 7 days. Below trend line support, which is this green trend line coming off the March 2020 lows. As I zoom in, we held support here, held support there, and then we finally broke right here, and we've just been back testing ever since. So we haven't sold off, but we haven't really gone anywhere. We've basically gone nowhere. There is negative divergence on the SPY, and just recently, actually yesterday, we made a new divergent high, intraday at least. So that was a new divergent high right there. So if we continue higher, each one of these new highs are going to be divergent highs, telling us that we're likely going to fail or roll over from this point. And so that's why I think we're likely going to go down from this area. But again, you got to see the price action in the charts, and there's no sell signals yet. So just waiting. IWM small caps, just a repeat of yesterday. Here's your daily chart coming off the March 2020 lows. Held support there, finally got a breakdown or a sell signal, and we had negative divergence building for quite a while. So this was your last divergent high. I have it circled right there. And there's your sell signal or break of trendline support. And ever since we broke, we've just created we've just been backtesting. So you almost have a secondary trend line you could probably mark out if you guys are looking for some sort of a sell signal. Yeah, I mean, it's maybe something like that. Again, I'm going to watch the large caps for my trigger. Or, if you want to trade the small caps, maybe look at the large caps for indication of, things going to sell off. Usually the small caps are going to trade with the large caps. And oftentimes they'll sell off a lot more. So something to look for. No sell signal in the IW. There's larger. I just want to go back to this real quick. There's larger term sell signals. So if you're a swing trader, I think you probably can just stick with the trade, because on this larger time frame, the daily chart, this larger pattern, we got a sell signal right here, and this is a counter trend bounce or a back test. So I think it's likely we're going to reject and head lower. We just don't have that yet. If you're not short this thing yet, I think these are objective areas to start looking at shorting, in my opinion. But again, I'm really interested in what the Qs does as kind of my leading indicator to tell me where this might go. So I'm really focused more on the Qs than anything, waiting for some sort of a sell signal on the Qs. Okay, a lot of these tech stocks, these momentum stocks, these are like the ARK Innovation Fund stocks. They're all starting to kind of turn down, and it looks like it's not impulsive yet, so I can't say that the counter trend rally that we had over the last week and a half is finished, but it looks like it's getting close. So just to give you guys an example, kind of Chewy starting to turn down. I just want to point out, here's Redfin starting to sell off, Peloton starting to sell off. Neo's, kind of starting to sell off today a little bit. Etsy's just sideways. There's nothing going on there. Really, Pin's kind of starting to sell off. They're all selling off today. Well, I wouldn't say all of them, but many of them. Roku selling off, starting to roll over. So, that's kind of what I'm seeing in general. Looking at DraftKings kind of starting to sell off, and Tesla. Tesla's actually starting to sell off, down 3%. So starting to see these things give up. And so I've been viewing the rally over the last week and a half and a lot of these as just a counter trend bounce and the trend being down. For example, Tesla, this is your upward trend line in Tesla on the daily chart. So we were in a bullish trend all through here. It held many times. You have reaction, 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 reaction. Finally a break. All right, so a very verified trend line, lots of reactions, and we basically put in some negative divergence, and especially right there on the RSI up there, negative. This was divergent high price action. You finally got a break of the trend line with a nice impulsive sell signal. All right, so I'm now viewing this as a downtrend. We've changed trend and we're going to downtrend. So you basically make a trend, you move down, you have a counter trend bounce, and then you resume the downtrend. And that's what I'm viewing this as, is a resumption of the downtrend. So I'm looking at 460. There's my target. It's just sitting down there. We're pointing that way right now. So just, looking for more selling to come into the market. We'll likely see broad-based selling start to show up as well if we continue our the downtrend in a lot of these momentum stocks. So Lyft, this is a potential trade idea. Again, here's your upward trend line right there on the daily chart. Negative divergence on the PPO and the RSI. So again, all this price action up here was divergent high price action. You then look for a break of trendline support, and there it is right there. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. But there's your break. There's your sell signal, right? That candle was basically your sell signal. Nice impulsive breakdown. We sell down. Big sharp counter trend bounce. And I think it's likely we start to roll over from here. Or, we could go a little higher and actually fully backtest that trend line. And it's about 3% up. If you measure that from where we're at, it's about 3.5% up today, maybe 4%. So there's always that possibility that we go up and do that full backtest of that trend line and then roll over. Or the sellers might just step in early. I think the sellers might step in early is what I'm thinking. It's pretty obvious that backtest. So if they step in early, then I would look at this as probably near the highs of this counter trend bounce. and then we're going to start to roll over. Ultimately, I think lift gets all the way down here at about 32 bucks. And that's a gap fill, a big gap fill down here. So I think we're going to continue to trend downward till we hit about 32. And that's likely going to be, from my perspective, that's kind of the end of the move. That's my profit target for this one. Let's flip over to the financials a little bit. So here's Wells Fargo. This one looks like it's a breakdown is imminent. It looks like it's going to go any day. Now, I'm not shorting this, and I wouldn't, I don't short things until we get that breakdown. So I don't want to step in early because this can continue to grind, or there might be some news event that comes out and all of a sudden they ramp this thing higher. But I want to point out what I'm saying. Here's an upward trend line on the daily. So trend is bullish, and you have negative divergence right there with the RSI and the PPO. So you have negative momentum. Momentum is basically fading, and you can kind of tell that in the price action. You can see all the robust candles through this uptrend, pretty green candles, nice solid bull trend. And then recently we've just died. The candles are just little tiny tight range candles, and we're just grinding higher on less and less momentum. Volume is just pretty much dead, and in general it just looks like it's about to go. So I'm waiting for that breakdown or that sell signal. This one looks good for a downside move. First level of support that I see is about 41.65. So we still need to see that breakdown or that sell signal. And likely all these financials are going to break at the same time. XLF looks like it's about to break. This Ally Financial looks like it's about to break. It's just grinding this upward trend line with negative divergence here on Ally. And we're just waiting for that sell signal or break of trend line support. So just keep an eye on that. These are setups. They're not actionable. I'm not taking shorts on these yet because they can continue to grind higher. But looks like they're about to give way any day now. So we just got to wait. And that's what I'm watching. Okay, someone actually mentioned that they were kind of getting killed in some of their shorts. And I just want to point out it really depends on, again, if you're getting killed in a short, especially if it's a clean short setup, then you're either probably too large in the position or you had a bad entry. And that's really the key strategy that I teach in my training course is all about how to enter the trade and when to enter it, what to look for. And so it's all about charting a trade setup and then just waiting for that perfect entry and then taking a spot. Position. So here's an example on Boyd Gaming, BYD. If you're short this, there's no reason that you're getting killed in this thing if you had a good entry. So here's the uptrend line on the daily chart right there. Up near the top, we started to put in negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO. So this is your divergent high. And we got our sell signal basically right here. Okay, and nice impulsive breakdown sell signal. So if you shorted, even if you waited to the end of the day to short on that sell signal, you're still profitable after many days. We had a counter trend balance. It went against you a little bit, and now it's starting to roll back over. So you wouldn't really be getting killed. I mean, you might be giving up some of the profit that you saw in the first move down. But again, this is swing trading. We're not trying to capture just that first little leg down. We're looking at capturing the larger move down, probably down to the 200-day moving average at a minimum, 46, 43. And, from the entry, let's say you entered at the close down to there, that's a potential 27% profit. So that's kind of what we're looking for. And, you're going to have counter trend bounces along the way. So I'm looking for this to, work its way lower. Of course, we can continue to kind of grind higher, chop around a little bit. But I am ultimately looking for this to continue to trend down over time. And the example there is, that I'm really trying to point out is if you have a good entry, you'll know where you're wrong. You really shouldn't be getting killed in shorts because you enter at a close level of where you're going to be wrong. So if you find out that you're wrong small, and you're not getting killed. You're taking small losses. Otherwise, you just stick with the trade. And the other thing is, if your position size is too large, you might end up being wrong on one trade where you have a huge position and right on many others, but that one that you were wrong on wipes out all your gains on the others. So again, position sizing is key. These are all concepts I teach in my course, so check that out if you're interested. Link in the description below. Here's some other shorts I've talked about, like Winnebago, again, selling off today down, 2.5%. It's just doing what the rest of the market is doing. It had a counter trend bounce, and it looks like it's starting to continue to roll over. Toll Brothers, counter trend bounce right up to resistance. Here's your breakdown. So here's your trend line on the daily chart. Clean sell signal right there, negative divergence, and we had a counter trend bounce. So we're just kind of hanging out up there near resistance. I think it's likely we're going to get rejected maybe sometime this week. Snap's kind of, making it look like it wants to break out. It's not super impulsive, so this could be a false breakout. I'm going to kind of see what happens with this one. Starbucks continues to grind along trend line resistance. So here is the upward trend line, and we had a sell signal right there and it came with negative divergence, and we've just been back testing ever since. So the market, several stocks and sectors are just right there about to give way. Several stocks have already broken down, and they just need that extra push or catalyst from some of these other sectors, I think, to really get them going to the downside. Here's Deere. Again, this is a trade I've talked about for a while. You really shouldn't be getting killed in this if you had a good positioning. So here is the upward trend line on the daily. Up here we had a divergent high, so you see the negative divergence, clean and clear negative divergence on this one. Big sell signal, and it's basically been down ever since. Now the last 2 weeks we've just gone nowhere, kind of grinding higher. This looks like a pretty much picture perfect bear flag, something like that maybe, or could be a little higher. This could be up here, but basically we move down, you flag out, and then you continue to the downside is the projection for this. So I'm looking for more downside on this. This still looks good. Okay, guys, that's really all I have for now. I'll keep an eye out for any trade ideas or anything interesting. Just trying to continue to point out these potential setups in case they trigger any day. Likely when they go, they're going to go fast. And it's all about positioning and getting a good position at the moment when it's available. So that's why I talk about these stocks and these setups well in advance, so that when it shows up, you can take action. And then we'll cover it in a video afterwards. Again, everything on the channel is just my opinion. Nothing's trading advice. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.